Hello my friend and welcome to my channel Zip. I hope that you are well. Let's keep exploring object and in this video will bring us to the object method. So we learned that objects, just like arrays, can hold different type of data and they can hold even arrays, and in fact they could even hold object inside object. But now we can take it even further. And for that, remember how I say that functions are really just another type of value. And if a function is just a value, then that means that we can create a k-value pair in which the value is a function. And that then means that we can in fact add the functions to object. And so let's now see how. And once more, I will go back to take this object here. But I will change it up a little bit this time around. So here, let's simplify and just put birth year and it is in 1986. And also, I want to add a boolean here called has driver license. Okay, true. Good. Just to show you that we can hold all kinds of different data type in one object. But now let's also add the function here as a k value pair. So to do that, all we have to do is to add another k here. And the function that we want to add is again the calc age function. Okay, so that's one of the favorite, as you can see, but it's because it's a very simple calculation that we can do with the birth year. So to do that, let's simply add the name basically of the function here as a k. So as a property, so calc age, and then the colon. Okay, and now here we simply specify the function as an expression, and that works because the expression produces the value. And so we can just do this. So function, and just like before, we pass in the birth year. Okay, of course, because with our purposes. And we return 2021 minus the birth year. Okay, that we passed was passed in. So this is pretty similar to simply writing this, right? Okay, there's no difference. So as a regular function expression, so const calc age equal function, same thing, and here birth year and return minus birth year, same thing. This is how we used to do it before, and so you see that this is pretty similar. The difference is just in the syntax, because now calc age is not a regular variable like here, but it is a property of the file cell object. And so therefore we use the colon here, but the rest here is exactly the same, no difference. And so that's why it was very important that you understood what function expression actually is, because here we need to function expression to create this method. And that's what this function is called. So any function that is attached to an object is called a method. I repeat, it is called a method. So of course, we could have not used a function declaration here. So something like this. So function after this calc age, okay, birth year, and we have this one, return this one. Okay, this one would not work. You will certainly get an error here. Let's see. As you can see, unexpected identifier, because this is a declaration, and so it doesn't work here. Okay, so we need an expression, just a function expression. Okay, and now there is no problem. Good. I hope that this makes sense. So, if you can think of function as simply being values, then you can see that the method is actually also a property. It just happens to be a property that holds a function value. So here, the different value of facial properties, we have a string value. Here we have an array value. Also we have Boolean value, and then we have a function value. All right. So I hope that's logical. And now, just like we can access any other property, we can also access the calc age property or method. So I can do Faisal dot calc age. Okay, so calc age is now the function value, just like any other function. In order to call it, we use the parentheses. And now we can pass in the year here 1986. And so that should then calculate our age. And let's just log this result to the console. So console log. Oops, like this. And now I recheck this. As you can see, I have the result. Okay, and you could also have access to this method using the bracket notation, because again it is just as if it was normal property, and the brackets would actually be necessary here and with string. So like this, I just copy paste this one, and we do it with brackets. Faisal dot property, it is calc age, the name of our property. Okay, and now we pass our value, it is function, so 1986, and we see the same thing. Good. Okay, so just like I showed you in the last video with the operator proceeding table, the first thing that happens here is that Faisal.calcage is computed. And so this call here will become the function value. And then with the parenthesis, we call that function value here and passed in 1986. And the same thing here with the brackets. So here we access the property calc age using the brackets, and then this here will basically be replaced with the function. And then we call the function right here, just like before. Alright, now you might have noticed that the birth year 1986 that we passed here as an argument to the method is actually already defined in the Faisal object itself. Okay? So we already have this information in the Faisal object. And so writing the same number here and here is not ideal, because we may make a mistake and pass in the wrong year. For example, right here. Okay? So Faisal birth here is 1986, but here we could, for some reason, accidentally do, I think, for example, like this. And then it will be wrong. And even if we do not make any mistake, this is still not ideal because we are not keeping the code dry. So we are violating the don't repeat yourself principle. So if we know the birth year of Faisal, it would only be written in one place, not in multiple places, because if that may change, then we have to change it everywhere. That's always the philosophy that we need to keep in mind. So, what if we could actually access this birthday property directly from the Faisal object instead of having to pass it? Well, it turns out that we can actually, and that's because in every method, JavaScript gives us access to a special variable called this. And so, what we can do now is in this calcAge function, we can read the birth year directly from this object itself without having to pass it in parameter here into this function. Good. So let me copy this function here. Okay, and I will come on this one. I passed it here. I just to keep the history. Okay, and now I will use the new version of the function. Okay, now we are no longer need a parameter birth year, and we will read the birth year directly from the object. And for that again, we will use the this keyword. So the this keyword or the this variable is basically equal to the object on which the method is called. Or in other words, it is equal to the object calling the method. So let's see who is calling the method. So down here, we have is called calcAge, and the object that is calling the method is Faisal. Okay? Because that's where the dot is. And let's forget about this one actually. Comment it, this one. We don't need it. And so again, the object that is calling the calcAge method here is Faisal. And so that means that inside this method, the this variable or the this keyword will point to Faisal. And so let me just write this keyword here. So like this dot birth year. And then I explain it even a little bit better. So here we don't need to pass the year, the birth year. Okay. Let's also log this to the console, and we will see what we have. Console dot log this. Okay, or I will do it before. I will do it not here. Sorry, I will do it here before this return. Okay, to see what we have. And let's see. And indeed, this is the whole Faisal object. And so again, that's because the Faisal object is the one who is calling this method. So this function, see here it is Faisal calcAge, and so whatever appears before the dot is the one who is calling the method. And so therefore, in the method, this point to Faisal now, and if this point to Faisal, then this dot birth here is of course this value that we have right here. Okay? I mean this Faisal birthday property. So you see that this keyword is something really useful, and we will learn even more about this keyword in greater detail in a later section. For now, I just want to introduce you to this concept, and I noticed can be a bit confusing. So really make sure to maybe pause the video and really analyze what's happening here. Maybe you can even rewind a little bit and hear my explanation again. That may be useful too. Now you might argue that maybe we don't even need this confusing this keyword. Why not just do Faisal dot birth year? Why? Well, because that would actually still violate the don't repeat yourself principle. It would work just the same here now. But then let's say that we need to change the name of the object. So we change it here to Faisal2. And then we call down here Faisal2. Okay? And then the code will no longer automatically work because now Faisal is not defined, of course. And so we would have to keep that in mind and then come here and manually change this as well. While if we had this keyword, then everything will keep working without us having to change it here. Because now this will simply point to Faisal2 because that is the object calling the method. And so therefore it is always a good idea to reference the object itself and not hard code the name of the object. So let's put it back here to Faisal. Okay, it's much better. So, and also of course this, I will put this one, good. So this was great already, and we are really going into some more advanced territory here. So I hope you are still following me, and you are still making sense of everything. However, we can actually even take this a little bit further, but don't worry, it is not going to get a lot more confusing. Just a small variation of this. Because let's say that we need to access the age multiple times through our program. So that will be like calling this method multiple times or a couple of times. 1, 2, 4, like this. So let's say in 3 places of our application we need to access the age. And so of course this will work. Let's see now. Good. It works perfectly. Okay? And it always logs the Faisal object because we still have this here. Okay? So this makes it a bit easier to view. So now I just comment it. I don't need it. And so what happens here is that the function will get called a total of 4 times. I will reload to see it again. And so this computation here, okay, will be done 4 times. And in this case, that's not a big deal, but it may be a like heavier computation that actually takes some more time. And so it will be a bad practice to do this multiple times. Instead, that we can do is to just calculate the age once and then store it in the object. And then when we need it, a little point, we can then just retrieve the age as a property from the object. So I hope you are following me here. So I will again copy this and comment this one. Okay. Let's copy it. Just to keep the history, as I said. So now what I was trying to say is that we can now use the this keyword also to store a new property. So we can say here this dot age equal. Okay? So we calculate the age and then we create a new property on the current object. So in this case, on the Faisal object, and remember that you can use the dot notation like this to create a new property. So we did that in the previous video as well. Okay? So here we have created Faisal.location and it's set to France. And so here we are essentially creating Faisal.age and setting it to this age that we just calculated. And then we can simply return this dot age. Okay? And of course, we don't even need to return anything if we didn't want to do it. We could make this method only calculate the age, but not even return it. But I think it's a good practice to actually also return it. And so So now here we can replace the function call with age. Okay, this 3-1 age. Like this. And notice this trick that I did here again. So you can use a shortcut to rename all of them directly, at once, directly, not one by one. By using, you can use Ctrl+D. Okay, I can do it. So, first one, Ctrl+D, and Ctrl+D. You see? And age directly. Here is the trick. So this gives me multiple cursors, and then I can do one operation in multiple places at the same time. So that's really handy shortcut. So again, Ctrl+D or Command+D, and in the menu bar that means at the next occurrence. So let's test this, and the result should be now the same. Good. But we only need to calculate the age once, then from here we simply retrieve the property that we had already calculated before. And so this is the most efficient solution, let's say. Alright. And now I actually have a small challenge for you that you can do just in this video. So I want you to write a method called GetSummary. And this method should return a string which should kind of summarize the data about Faisal, or of course any other person data that you might have used. For example, let me again write the challenge here. Challenge. So I want to write, for example, this one. Faisal is 35 years old, developer. Okay, and we now could actually add all the data here to the string, but that would be too much work, and I am a bit lazy now. So let's just also say if I have a driver license or not. So Faisal is 35 years old, developer, and he has a driver's license or not, huh? And it says that I have driver license because it has driver license is true, but if it was false, then here it should say then he has no driver license. So it's either or no. So figure out how you can do that, and so I hope you managed to do it. It is a bit similar to what we did in the previous video, but this time I want you to actually write a method on your own. So give this a try, and I hear you in a few seconds. Okay, let's add a GetSummary method. GetSummary. And remember that you need to have a comma between the properties. Okay, very important. And so that's true also with the method. So here we need a comma and then just a function. Okay, and it will then get all his data, of course, from the current object. So let's first call this method, and so we are doing it inside of console.log. Faisal.getSummary. Because of course we want to be able to see the summary string as a message in the console. Okay? So which is the best calling the method? It is, what is the object, sorry, that calls the method? Of course it is Faisal. And so therefore, this keyword inside of GetSummary will be Faisal. So I hope that this one is clear at this point. I hope, huh? So let's now build a string here. So return. Let's build our string. Where is the this one? Let's start by the name. So Faisal dot first name, okay, is and now the age, okay. So this dot, and now what we do here, should we use the age property or should we do calc age? Well, I will say that we should do calc age, because we cannot assume that calc age was already called before, okay. And if we don't call calc age before, we call GetSummary, then the age property will not exist. And so it's better to actually do calc age here, okay. And so I think we did this before. So in template string, we can easily do a function call. That's not a problem at all. So this calc age, we call this other method, and this will then return the age. All right. And maybe it may be strange for you to call the function also on this, but well, the rule is just exactly the same. This is Faisal in this object, and so this is essentially the same as writing it here. All right. So this will become the age, and so I continue. Years old, and now the job. So this dot job, okay, and after this he has maybe he has or not, and now we need to decide between he has Java resource or no, okay. So what we do here, we use a ternary operator. So we get the driver license before this dot has driver license, and now we decide. If has driver license, you write has a, okay. If it is false, we use has not driver license, okay. And basically, if it is true, then we want the result of this operator to be A, and if not, you want to be not or no, okay. Well, that's what you want. And then I write driver's license, okay. Makes sense? So again, here we want either A or no, depending on the state of the has driver's license property. So we get that property by calling this dot has driver's license, and here we are using the ternary operator. And so if this first part is true, then the result of the operator will be A, and otherwise the result will be no. And so that's what will then be put into this place of the sentence, okay. And we already called the method down here, and we logged it to the console, and so I think this should work now. Let's see. Oops, I forgot something, I think, here. What I forgot here. Of course, this one, it is not outside the curly braces, it's inside this one here. Yeah, that is the error, what I have forgot here. I put it outside the curly braces. The expression is inside, not outside. So now I reload, and good. As you can see, I have the message. Faisal is a 35 years old developer. He has a driver's license. Now, just to test, let's set it to false, this one. and I will reload. And now he has now driver's license. Beautiful. And good. That's all the code that I had to show you in this video. And now, just to finish the video, which I know is already running quite long, but I want to basically build a bridge between this method and the array method video. So remember that we use the method on arrays previously, so we can quickly go there. So it was, where is it? Here. Yeah, this one. So for example, here we have friends.push, and so we have an array, and on there we call a method. So just like we did in this video. Now what this means is that arrays are actually also objects. They are just a special kind of object. Okay? So they have function, or in other words, they have method that we can use to manipulate them, like push, pop, shift, and unshift, and many more. Alright? So in this video, we created our own method on our own object. But here, we basically use a built-in method on arrays. So, once again, that means that the arrays are actually also objects. That's why they can have a method as well. And we will dive deeper into why things work like this, but I want you to realize this early on in the course. This is quite a complex topic. Don't worry. And so there is really a very exciting journey still ahead of you. So I hope you are enjoying this journey so far, and now to test your knowledge, you can do a coding challenge if you want to understand very well this concept of this object. Maybe I will write a coding challenge in next video, inshallah. Okay, to continue the course, and we jump to another topic, inshallah. Okay, so take care of us. See you in next video, inshallah. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to follow me on Instagram. I say goodbye. Wassalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.